Atman and Kundalini lecture. The word Atman, pronounced as Atma in Sanskrit, is interpreted as the main essence of man, man's higher I. A in this word is a negating particle. Tma means darkness. The word tamas, ignorance, spiritual darkness, has the same root. Therefore, Atma or Atman means opposite to darkness, shining. In essence, Atman is the best, divine part of one's multidimensional organism. Atman is the Brahmanic fire when we become this fire, and the Atmic energy Kundalini, the precious content of the money box, where the best of us, which has been accumulated in all previous incarnations, is stored. It turns out that every time man incarnates into the next body, not the entire soul gets embodied, but only that part of it which requires correction and improvement. But God saves the best of it, i.e., something that has been nurtured against the background of the emotion of the most tender love, in this money box. Nevertheless, Kundalini still remains a part of the human multidimensional organism and takes part in its life activity. Ordinary material food that we eat is used by the organism for growth and renewal of the cells of the body, but it also provides a. the energy for the activity of the muscles, nervous system, glands, and for other needs of the body. b. the energy stored in the organism in the form of special biochemical links at the molecular level. c. energy for the chakras and other energy structures. And d. energy for the direct growth of the consciousness. Therefore, both qualitative and quantitative growth of individual consciousness is ensured, on the one hand, by the quality and quantity of material food, and on the other hand, by intensity and quality of life. That is, spiritual or non-spiritual, in the true meaning of these words. At the end of the world, all Kundalinis get infused into the consciousness of the Creator, but the souls that failed to unite with Atman by that time get disintegrated to the Pratapurusha state. Let us get back to the transformation of energy. Our bodies are as factories, where transformation of material energies into the energy of the consciousness takes place. But the quality of the growing consciousness primarily depends on what emotions we live in, subtle and the subtlest, as opposed to grey or black, coarse ones. As we can see from the above said, God feeds and grows, evolving thanks to the transformation of food in our bodies, which was created by Him from Akasha. The energy produced in our bodies from this food transforms ideally into Atmic energy, which He then infuses into Himself. From this the role of creation of the worlds and the place of all living beings, including us, people, in His evolution becomes clear once and for all. So, if we love God, let us take an active part in this process. And, as we can see, it makes sense to express love for God not by begging something in front of the icons, but by increasing our Atmic potentials by living actively in emotional love. The Kundalini resources of people differ. They depend on the number and quality of lives we have already lived, as well as on how we live in this one. Our Kundalinis usually exist in Akasha inside the body of our planet. Echoes of the knowledge about Kundalini gave birth to the myths that every person has a sister soul, meeting with which is what everyone dreams about. Kundalini is connected to the body of each man with a special energy canal that enters the body at the front part of the Muladhara chakra. Kundalini participates in the organism's activity in various ways, including replenishment of the embodied part of the consciousness. The greater Kundalini one has, the richer his or her spiritual potential and spiritual expressions are. But being divine, identical to the energy of the Creator by its quality, the energy of Kundalini is still individualized. It is like a drop which is not merged yet with the ocean of primordial consciousness. When man matures in a series of incarnations up to the stage when the current incarnation can become the last one, and when all defects of the incarnate part of the consciousness are eliminated, the time comes when the Kundalini may be brought up to the body, raised through it, and merged with the remaining part of the consciousness. After that, one has to infuse with Kundalini into Paramatman, i.e., into the highest Atman, into the ocean of universal primordial consciousness of the Creator in his abode. Accumulation of person's Kundalini takes place only when he or she is in the emotional state of tender love. This is what God wants from people. These are the states that he calls us to live in. For example, Jesus taught, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another. And above all things, have fervent love among yourselves. Beloved, let us love one another. Be brotherly loving one another." Where can we experience states like this? First of all, in harmonious sexual relations filled with tenderness, which are inspired by the understanding that subtle and pure harmony of love. This is what God wants from us the most. This is an important part of the path to God. By this we enrich not only ourselves, but also Him. We also learn how to love when we take care of our children with joy and tenderness, or when we attune to subtle works of art filled with tenderness. People who have become established in these states later prove capable of experiencing intensive bliss from the direct communication with God. These states, collectively called sattva, are the states that God wants us to live in, for it is in them that we can grow directly as consciousness, preparing ourselves to the total mergence with Him, directly participating in His evolution. All our opposite states, they are called tamas, do not contribute to this, and thus are not pleasing Him. And by cultivating them, we turn ourselves into the waste of the evolution, destine ourselves for living in the cesspool, hell, regardless of our being members of a particular religious organization, and our fervor in performing its rites and sacraments. It is significant that aggressiveness and violence are typical of people who belong to the tamas guna. They have a zealous desire to make all other people similar to themselves. This gives birth to holy wars, to propagation of alcoholism and eating bodies of animals, and to desecration of the beauty and value of sexual relations. Or look at the religious rules that demand people to enter the legitimate marriage blindly without studying sexual compatibility with the partner first. But people differ dramatically by their sexual features, and successful matches in this respect are rather rare than common. And the majority of spouses in the religious marriages suffer and torture each other in sexual disharmony. But sects prohibit divorces. And now let us look. Is this what God wants? Sattva guna, sattvic state, is the state which God calls all of us to live in. Sattva guna is bliss. and the state of God is also bliss. Those who got accustomed to bliss on the earth easily enter into the Creator's bliss. However, the process of entering the abode of the Creator requires additional efforts. Sattva should not become a trap for us, since it can appease us with the earthly kind of bliss and make us give up efforts on active cognition of the Creator in His abode, on entering it and merging there with Him. Yes, if we grow ourselves as consciousnesses, living in the states of subtlest love and feeding the furnaces of our bodies with food adequate to the spiritual path, that is, killing free, which does not contain alcohol, drugs, and other toxins, is rich in vitamins, microelements, protein. In this case, we successfully fulfill our individual minimum plan in the face of God. But He also has a maximum plan for us. It implies that we try to perfect that part of ourselves, Jiva, that lives in the body apart from Kundalini. Then we will be able to enter into Him with the whole of ourselves, retaining full awareness, and then to help other embodied people from the highest divine level, like divine teachers that are frequently mentioned in this book, do. But let us get back to work with Kundalini. The term raising Kundalini, well known from yogic and occult literature, denotes the method of bringing this energy to and carrying it through the body. The word Kundalini means snake. The origin of this term will become clear as we proceed with this issue. We have already discussed that bringing Kundalini to the body can be performed only by a divine teacher, but subsequent stages of the process are conducted with participation of the aspirant. Here, God encounters a difficulty, about which He says Himself, and which consists in the lack of knowledge about work with Kundalini that people have lost due to the ignorance that prevails on the earth. This is why the work with Kundalini can only be performed within few spiritual schools that reach the high level of competence. I want to note that any attempts to awaken Kundalini, for example by knocking the coccyx on the floor, which is recommended by various pseudo-gurus, do not have anything to do with the truth. They believe that Kundalini is stored in the Muladhara chakra, which they think is located in the coccyx, but in reality, neither Muladhara chakra nor Kundalini has any relation to the coccyx. Attempts like this can result only in bioenergetic or mental disorders. So, God brings Kundalini to the body of His worthy disciple first. I want to mention that developed Kundalini has a size of many kilometers. Then quite a fine work on carrying Kundalini through the body should begin. The prerequisites for this kind of work are absolute cleanness and perfect development of all necessary energy structures of the organism. All 7 chakras, Sushumna, Chitrini, the front and the middle meridians, as well as the developed clairvoyance abilities of the aspirant. The process of raising Kundalini usually takes many days, a month or more, although the use of special places of power can help shorten this process significantly. The exercise of raising Kundalini is performed in the horizontal position of the body and repeated many times. Every time the passing of Kundalini through the body is initiated by the practitioner, he or she reaches with the hand of the consciousness through the Muladhara chakra for the Kundalini, which was brought to the body, and as if he or she stirs the head of the snake that is coiled up there. Then the energy of Kundalini starts flowing through the body, washing and purifying it with the Atmic power, healing its remaining defects. The aspirant, like a hospital host, has to let the flowing energy through a particular meridian into all the chakras and all the segments of the body. Upon passing through the body, Kundalini spills out through the Sahasrara chakra and concentrates over the head. One should learn how to become one with this energy by merging with it inside this accumulation. In this way, we accustom ourselves to living in the state of Atmic subtlety. The Atmic energy Kundalini, brought in this way through the body, infuses then into Paramatman, highest divine Atman, the heart of the Absolute. Thus the practitioner moves there, with a very significant part of oneself.